Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the King Leo Show. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm a bit tired. How are you? J Boss? What's up, man? Didn't have time to fix the echoes here. I don't even remember what the solution was. I'm sorry, man. Welcome to the pre-show. I had a pain in the ass weekend. It was all right, but I was driving around Florida and it's not looking good, man. It is not. It's surprising how bad. Yeah, man. Tired from the trip. Dude, it's surprising how insanely bad this state has been managed. I drove through for the first time the Villages. Have you ever heard of the Villages? You ever heard of the Villages, J-Boss? Brother, the Villages is this place where these rich, largely white boomers are. And it's built like the Truman Show town. It was built in the early 2000s, but they made it look like an old-timey 50s town. And it has fake history. It's very Baudrillardian, but in a very creepy way because it's Uncanny Valley. They still have portraits of Ike, like Eisenhower and all this stuff. And they do a Pledge of Allegiance. And it's like boomer Wakanda, right? It's like boomer heaven. And there's no bugs because they use bug spray everywhere. You can't play on the grass because the grass is like painted and fumigated to a degree that if you play in it, like for children, it would be damaging to their health. It's illegal to be there unless you're over 55 for living. But they have a charter school there for children because if you work there, you can send your children to that school. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, God, dude, this is evil. This is like actual evil. I haven't felt that ever. I don't think ever, man. I was like, damn, dude, this is an evil place. And they're all just boomering around. They drive around on golf carts. If you read about the things that happened there, at one point they had the highest STD rate in the state. It's all these boomers that don't want to live with their kids or take care of their grandkids. And I was freaked out, man, because I'd never been there. They were playing Pour Some Sugar on Me because they have these cover bands that come in. And I was like, dude, I don't understand this. You know what I didn't understand about the Villages is how did white people allow this? In the sense of, I know people complain about the boomers or something, but didn't white boomer, like the kids of boomers that were white, how have they not stepped in and said something to be like, hey, this is messed up, that this is not allowed? Because you can't look at me and be mad, or black people. There's no black people there. Dude, this place is evil. They fucked up the water table. It's a crazy place, the Villages. I would not go back. Made me uncomfortable. I found out that lady from the Blacklist. I've never seen the show, but I found out, I know the show, obviously. It's like that James Spader or whatever. And his sidekick in the show is this lady. She's the granddaughter of the founder of the Villages. She grew up in the Villages. It's the creepiest shit. A-Boss says, no bugs. Super attracted to me. I hate them guys. Dude, then go to Iceland. And I loved Iceland. There was no bugs at all. Didn't you show us a clip of one of those villages in one of your past shows? I don't know if I did, man, but there's a documentary about it that I watched that's pretty good. Vice has a free one. Obviously, there's a like liberal slant to it. They're like talking about how they love guns or whatever, but still, it's worth watching. Here it is. I'll send the link here. It's the creepiest place in the world. I highly recommend this. I don't know how people allowed that. How you doing, Eves? Eve says, more like their kids want to get rid of them. LOL, boomer perspective. I don't think so, Eves, because I looked at the documentaries and I read about it, and this is a very expensive place. Like, their kids don't send them there. What happens is that they pay for it. Like, they enjoy being there. They interview two boomers there, and the boomers say, I like being here because I'm 2 hours away from my kids, so they can't force me to babysit their kids. And I'm like, what else are you doing here? You know, it's creepy. They have like the cover concerts, obviously classic rock, but they have their own radio station. They have their own newspaper. It's like a company town, but it's expensive. And it's actually majority lady boomer. And so I don't know how you do it. It's a fucking weird place, man. I've never been there before. I don't want to go. It was very Truman Show-esque. It was fucking weird. J Boss says, sounds like a dreamy place. Sorry, but my whiteness I was showing you. Nothing you said sounds bad about those. Dude, watch the documentary. I don't know, man. Maybe do you like driving around drunk in golf carts, running? They're all over like 70 years old. They have accidents. It's illegal for ambulances to do their sirens because people are dying all the time. It's designed for them. Because I was there and I was like, look, if you're a millennial, when millennials retire, what are they going to do? They're basically going to do like Harry Potter houses, retirement community or something like that, right? This is like, you never left the 50s and it's obviously fake. And they I don't know, man, they just sit around and spend all their money. It's crazy how much money they spend on their healthcare there. J-Boss says, I like it completely artificial, all wildlife gone downtown looking, 100% paved down like place every time. Bro, if you want to live on the Nuketown map, I mean, go for it. I prefer a place like Lisbon. Now I know it sucks, dude, but I was there like 15 years ago. It was awesome. Porto was all right, but Lisbon was fucking cool. I like something like that. Or the countryside over there. Barcelona was okay. I'm not a big fan of it, but whatever. Better than Madrid, at least. I don't understand this suburb. Dude, let's look up some pictures, actually. Let's fucking look this up. Look at this. Look at this. No, Eves, it's literally all Trump supporters. They had this giant Trump rally. The Villages, Florida. Look at this. It's like, oh, hang on. Where am I? I know we're supposed to start the show, but let me just show you this here. This is fucking crazy. All right, look at this. It's, I don't know how you, and again, the 55 plus community thing, it's a carve out in the FHA that allows them to do this. I don't see how this should be allowed, because I asked Gemini while I was there, I was like, what if I said no blacks? And Gemini said, no, that would be illegal. And I said, okay, what if I said no one over 30? And it said that would be illegal too. And I'm like, okay, so they can go only 55 and above and get cheaper rates for everything, but I'm not allowed to discriminate on. I don't understand how that's fair. I don't understand how that's fair at all. Look at them. Look at what this is a mad, creepy place, man. I don't know. Maybe some people like it. It literally feels like Nuketown. It feels like Nuketown. J Boss says F Lisbon, Porto. Porto was cool, man, but it felt so touristy when I was there. I liked it. I'll admit I liked it, but it felt so touristy. If I had a house, I'd have no yard. Nature is for the Nordics. I like everything paved and done up like the Romans taught us to do. Well, this isn't really that. This is like artificial nature. I think they have like one of the highest golf course per capitas, which I think is terrible personally, because it's going to bite you in the ass. The water table is going to go down. The aquifer is going to go down. It already has. It's full of sinkholes. And this is just Wakanda for boomers. I don't know. I don't know. No grass, no tree. No, there's trees, man. There's grass everywhere because it's a fucking golf course and it's all poison grass. Eve says New York's anti-mirror. Yeah, it's. I don't know. I think you should watch the doc, because the doc shows you that there was a sociologist that I learned of while I was researching that they say that this place is actually ageist. And I was wondering why. I was like, there's no way they're saying this. This is cheaper for old people. How is it fair? And they said it's ageist because they're not allowed to be old. So a lot of people move there and they tell them, oh, you have to, join a twirling society, like a cheerleading thing or the Margarita Club or something like that. And they're not allowed to be old. Fuck them anyway. But I'm just saying, dude, like there's crazy accidents there because they're boomers, right? So like a lot of them are insane. I read an article. One of these guys beat another boomer to death. A boomer beat another boomer to death with a golf club because he thought he scratched his Lexus. It wasn't even his Lexus. I'm like, what? Another boomer ran over two boomer cyclists and dragged them under her car and just left. There's crime like that all the time, and they're all fucking, they all have STDs. Crazy place. Crazy place. Very bourgeois. All right. Welcome to the King Leo Show. How you doing, Audio Vibes? I've been there before. That place is insane. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. It's crazy. I was like, wow, millennials really are boomers because they love Disney, right? Like the Disney adult is a millennial. It's literally marketed as informally as Disneyland for boomers. You go, what? Anyway, let's get to the show. Welcome to the King Leo Show, everyone. Sign up for the Patreon. I had an interesting review today. This is $5 or $20 a month. Gets you the same thing, which is our King Leo movie club. I have the Baudrillard film history coming out later tonight on the 1960s, which was interesting. But I did this one here, which I watched this movie called Office Romance by accident. I know that sounds terrible, but it was by accident, okay? With Jennifer Lopez and Brett Goldstein. I didn't know who this guy was before this movie. This is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. It was a really bad movie. I was very passionate about this review because this movie, if you watch it, it's like what woke wanted the world to be. J-Lo, who is a geriatric woman, is the hottest lady in the movie within the movie's universe. And Brett Goldstein, who's obviously gay in the movie, I don't know if he's gay in real life. I've never met him. But in this movie, he's obviously gay, is irresistibly attracted to her. She runs an airline called Air Cruise, a regional airline in the United States. And she's the CEO. Her dad started it. And they fall in love. And there's an HR policy that says they can't. By the end of the movie, they change it. And I watched this, and everyone who works at the job is like DEI, right? So there's a guy in a wheelchair. There's a Hispanic guy. There's a lady who's artificially inseminated, but she doesn't want to take off time work when she gives birth. And you're looking at this, you're going, what fantasy world is this? Like, no company, there is no independent airline. You know, it was the craziest movie I've seen in my life. I'm looking at this and I'm going, dude, I make fun of conservatives for not understanding economics. These wokes did not understand economics at all either. It was crazy to see. All right. So please sign up for the Patreon. Helps the channel a lot more than you know. $5 or $20 a month. All right. Let's get to the show. Where we start. We have a lot to get through, man. This Khanna arrest. I'm very excited to talk about it. I guess he finally got what he was hoping for. Let's start the show, though. Firstly, I want to start here, man. A lot of people hate on this guy on Twitter. His name is Derek. I'm personally not a huge fan. I find him annoying, but I really liked what he did here, which is he showed how these people are all like idiots and grifters and liars. And it's just the worst.
Some of them going to sleep. Fuck God!
And he did this. He cut this clip of Andrew Schultz we saw last week and contrasted it with what he was saying on the Patrick Bet David podcast. And I think this is very instrumental. All right, this is very good learning here. Let's watch this here. One sec.
No, I think it's really interesting what you're saying. The military thing is tricky for me. I mean, that is my one regret. I wish I served in some way, shape, or form. I didn't have to do 16 years, but I wish I did something. But some form of national service. But I do think there's a power to our military being voluntary. Like, there's something really beautiful about it. Like, when you're going up against another military and you know all of them are forced to be there, and our guys are like salivating to get after it. How do you beat that?
You can't.
I don't know how you beat that. Like, they have committed their lives for the opportunity to protect our freedoms. And these other people are like, you better go there, you go to jail. You can't beat us. You can't beat us like that. I mean, maybe you have some hypersonic missile, that's one thing. But when it's like banging on the ground, which I don't even know if that's war anymore, I don't know, man. I think there's something beautiful about that. Now,
thank you, Eves, for the super chat. Let me get this here. In the interest of the kingdom, sir, rule and righteousness. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate the super chat. Thank you, sir. You keep the lights on around here. I really appreciate that, Eves. Quite a bit. All right. All right. So firstly, this is a shot, right? This is Andrew Schultz here saying, hey, I regret not serving in our wonderful armed forces. This is a regret that I don't often hear, actually. Especially in his generation and below. I don't often hear millennials saying, I wish I could have served the man. I wish I could have served the white man. No, I'm just kidding. I never hear that, right? I often hear, I'd rather serve crack before I serve the man. You know, we're a little LARPy. We do a little LARPing. We do a little boomer LARPing. Let's contrast this to here, which happened last week.
When we say AC, it's 72 and below. 72 degrees and below.
You're even a little high with that one, but I'll let you rock.
I know
I'm
Zoran was saying keep it at 78.
He's
This is America.
He was feeling a little too good. Nick's at 5. He was like off the high. He's like, oh, we don't need it, but he was wilding.
I put
He
my
bugged
shit
out
to
one day.
64 just to spite to him even suggesting such a thing.
These people are, I don't even know what you would call this. It's not hypocrisy. I read some of your email, J-Boss, where you were saying that Kurt Mills is an actor and that I'm an actor too. And I was like, that's kind of true. Alex the Mechanic is a total construct. Even KL is a construct, right? But I just, when does it stop being believable? You know, you're going to go on here, you're going to cry about how amazing and beautiful the American Armed Forces are, and you won't even raise the temperature for your city, much less your country. You know, during World War II, FDR made it illegal to own gold. And people gave up their gold. Sure, some people didn't. But people gave it up. People were giving up. They were rationing food. There were price controls in this country. And people did it because they wanted to win the war. Or because it doesn't matter the reason, but they were able to do that. And we LARP sahur nowadays with Andrew Schultz saying, I want to serve, but I can't turn my AC up. Man, shut the fuck up.
Shut up, man. Man, listen. You ain't got to say.
These people are clowns. They're clowns. All right, let's continue. I wanted to show you this here. This is, how you doing, Ironhammer? There was also a draft. True, there was a draft. There was a draft. Absolutely. You're getting on the front lines. They got into the war pretty late. I don't mean to burst America's bubble here. They got into the war pretty late. All right, whatever. No, of course, Band of Brothers is a documentary. All right. Let's check in on Fat Boy. What is Fat Boy saying to rally the troops here?
Like, my life is, dude, totally transformed. I don't go to the grocery store anymore. People go to the grocery store for me. Most of my meals, like when I cook a meal, it's like, I love to cook, actually. I'm a big baker. I like to cook for my kids as a special occasion, but I don't have to cook anymore because I've got an army of people who are willing to like cook me my food. My life is so weird. I fly around on a 757, no more TSA lines for me and the kids. It's so weird, but it can become the sort of thing that if you internalize it, you start to be an entitled asshole.
Oh, if you internalize it, that's when? Really? When you internalize it, JD? JD is on Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe made his name with that stupid show, Dirty Jobs. I know some people might have liked it. I'm not shitting on the show. I don't remember it. I watched it as a kid. Bragging while people are out here like this.
I can't eat. I'm broke, nigga. I'm broke.
People are broke in this country. And the vice president, not even Hugo Chavez did this. Not even Marie Antoinette did this. She said, let them eat brioche. Okay. Can a white woman speak? Can she offer solutions? That's what Marie Antoinette's defense should have been in front of the Revolutionary Tribunal. Can an Austrian bitch speak her mind for 1 second? Can an Austrian woman just say what she's thinking? Maybe I thought that there was brioche, okay? I would have said sardines, all right? I didn't know, all right, whatever. Even she didn't do this. Brother, he just came out there and told
You fat, you stink, and you in my country. I'm the top. You can't live in your own country. You're a monkey in your country.
That's what Fat Boy. Oh my dude, is this guy gonna run for president? There's no way. I saw Mark Halperin say he's going to have $2 billion to run for president. This is sick stuff. My life is, dude, totally transformed. You don't say, JD. You know what I love about this too is that it inspires and engenders. You've seen that clip of that African guy where he's like, when I'm not in corruption, I attack it. But when I am in the corruption, I defend it. That's going to happen. It's already happening. It's already happening. Whether you're joining ICE or the police or becoming, I don't know, like a teacher or joining the military or something, no one is doing so earnestly. They're all going, if I'm in the corruption, I defend it. You know, that's literally, and it's at every level. This is turning into a third world country. It's crazy. It's actually crazy how this country, when conservatives said, oh, this country's going to turn into Venezuela, they didn't know how right they were. Let's continue. All right, let's check it. No, let's skip this for the day. Let's skip this for the day too. This is great. I wanted to show you this. Anyone that's watching the World Cup out here, my country won today. My country of Spain, which hasn't given me my fucking passport yet. They owe me my passport. They said it was coming, and then they said, hang on. Where's my passport, Spain? Where's my passport? Where is my passport? You know, the good thing about having the Spanish passport, because I can't do it with Venezuela anymore, is that now with a Spanish passport, I'm going to be like, you know, if I ever get captured by Hamas, I'll be like, I have a Spanish. Oh, brother, Al-Andalus, let him go. You know, it'll be like that. Anyway, we won today 2-0 against France. Absolute victory. Tomorrow, Argentina, please defeat these Anglos. And then the day after, France, send England home packing. I don't even want them to have third place. Mbappe, the dictator, do what you must. Okay. Well, a lot of people have been attacking Argentina online. Now, look, I'm half Chilean. You don't have to ask me if I want to talk shit about Argentinians. All right. That's like my national pastime. I love doing that. When Argentinians get a little uppity, I go, yeah, guess what? We helped Thatcher during the war and your guys died, you know. And then they're like, oh, you can't say that. You can't say that. We're Latin brothers. Fuck you. You were going to invade Chile just a few years before. Okay. During the Pacific War, you people invaded Patagonia. Now, whatever. That is spilt milk under the bridge. But now people are attacking Argentinians. They're saying that they're racist and that they're like white and that makes them evil. Now, I have a couple issues with that. Argentinians, you're going to tell me those guys are white? Okay, buddy. All right. Like, wow. The woke is it. Really? You're telling me that those Argentinians, I don't listen. All right. We're all brothers or whatever. They're not any better. In fact, Chile is better than them, all right? Copa America back to back. The economy is better. You're telling me those guys are white? You must be outside of your goddamn mind. They're barely Italian. Anyway, they're saying, let's just watch what Al Jazeera had to say about Argentinians here. Let's watch this here. Let's watch.
Why are some Latin American fans at the World Cup eager to show how racist they are? That was Argentinian fans remixing a racist chant from 2022, implying that the French national team players aren't actually French because of their skin color. and instead come from Angola. And then there was American streamer iShow Speed being called the N-word in a stadium, again by Argentinian fans, in Miami, telling him to go home, even though his home is in the US.
That's not the N-word. Brother, people don't understand Spanish at all. This is how black people are called in Spanish. Now, this here at the end, not really. But you call black people negro. That's what just how you would call a white person blanco if they exist, or güero or something. That's not how it works. Okay, and then we have other words too. We use the word mulatto, trigueño. These are not offensive words in themselves. It's not the N-word. I'm sorry you watched Roots. Let's continue.
And now a senator from Paraguay compared French striker Kylian Mbappe to a monkey. Why do they seem so comfortable being openly racist in public? To understand, we need to look at the continent's colonial history, and that's especially relevant in Argentina, which is one of the whitest countries in Latin America, where only around 3% of its population self-identifies as
What are you talking about?
indigenous, following centuries of ethnic cleansing. Between 1878 and 1885, Argentina waged a military campaign against indigenous people in the Pampas and Patagonia. Today, several Argentinian historians and indigenous Mapuche organizations describe this campaign as a genocide. And this extermination coincided with a policy of mass European immigration. Between 1850 and 1913, around 6 million Europeans, mostly from Italy and Spain, moved to Argentina. The Argentinian government encouraged this as part of a plan to make the country more European. Meanwhile, black Argentinians were gradually pushed out of the country's history and made largely invisible in the country's identity. Though indigenous identity may play a larger role in Paraguay, the senator's comments are another reminder that racism didn't disappear with the formal end of colonialism on the continent. Some of the racism in this World Cup has roots in a colonial legacy that shaped an entire continent, a legacy that's still very much alive.
Oh, okay. Where is it?
Wait a minute.
I'm gonna listen to some Qatari tell me that a country in Latin America is racist. Bitch, you're from Qatar. Like, what are you? Oh, we don't want to talk about. We don't want to talk about Qatar. Can I talk? I cannot speak. If I speak, I get in trouble. I'm sorry. What did Qatar do? What? Okay, a Qatari what? You literally have slaves right now. Like right now, they have slaves. Oh, they're not slaves. We just take away their passport and pay them substandard wages. That's a slave, basically. That's a fucking slave. You're going to sit here in judgment. Okay, very interesting. And I don't know what this thing with they're mad because Malay likes Israel. Malay is a fucking scamming piece of shit. Yeah, everyone knows that. I knew Malay was a scammer from day one. I knew that because he's obviously a scammer. Have you met an Argentinian? I'm just saying, dude, when we're thinking of, I don't know, you want to call it about a caste system? You know, the trains don't work in Argentina, the streets don't work, it's like hella corrupt. It's like going to Naples or something. And Naples looks nice compared to Argentina. We're going to sit here and you're going to say, this is crazy. This is actually crazy. It's always funny when this happens because Latin Americans do not speak English. So no one actually looks at this shit. I don't know who the audience is for this. But yeah, I don't get, dude, they're a bunch of like reject Italians. Brother, have you met them? Like Argentinians could not build their way out of a paper bag. All right. And I know I'm biased because of my Chilean side. What are you talking about? You are ascribing something to them that I really just, I do not see. I do not see. Everything says I'm Moreno. Yeah, Moreno, Prieto. What else? Dude, we have Bachaco. There's so many racial categories. Sambo, that's kind of archaic. In Latin America, they don't understand how it works. And it's probably because in Arabic, the only word they have for black people is slave. My producer might have told me that. He's from there. Okay. J-Boss says, you cannot correct this woman on word meaning. She is homo like you. The reference still matters. About the, no, absolutely. That's the thing I love about Al Jazeera. We just pretend that Al Jazeera is cool now as if they didn't do the Arab Spring, as if they didn't promote Osama bin Laden. Like, where did this happen? That they just, oh, they're suddenly okay? Al Jazeera? I'm not saying Qatar. Al Jazeera? All right. Everybody says, okay, Al Jazeera, let's talk about the crimes, messed up history of the Middle East and the Arabic world. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. J-Boss says, Argentina's trashy because of all the Italians. Italy looks trashy too. Compare Uruguay where it's Spanish, no Italian. That's what, look, if you were to say to me the Uruguayans are civilized, I would even agree with the Uruguayans. They're cool. The Uruguayans are very nice. My favorite thing to do to Uruguayans is ask them what part of Argentina they're from. They hate it. They get so angry. They're very nice people, the Uruguayans. I don't know how they're that nice. It doesn't make sense. The Argentinians, now, ask any Latin American about Argentinians. Everyone has an opinion about these people. Don't ask about Venezuelans. That's going to make my other half look very bad. Beyond is new here. How you doing, Beyond? She is correct. Well, I would disagree with that. Malay is owned by Peter Thiel. That's definitely true. Malay is just a fucking scammer. I don't know how people didn't see that earlier. Bukele is a different story. But the new guy in Colombia, Malay, Fujimori in Peru, all these people are scammers, man. Like, they're scammers. In Latin America, we're living in the age of the scammer. We always have. J-Boss says, because Uruguay is full of gallegos and we're all Portuguese. That wouldn't make sense because the Portuguese are nice. That wouldn't make sense. They're very nice people. They're very nice people. I like them. I like their soccer team. They play well. They jump really high. They're not pompous. They're very cool. I like them, you know? Argentina is a case system with geniuses. Because that's what you're implying. That's one thing I hate about this lefty stuff. I'm not saying that I hate the left. We welcome everyone here. But they imply like this advanced civilization thing when they do their like racism talk. And I'm just like, what are you talking about, dude? You're crazy. Argentina, have you been there? It's a fucking mess. Anyway, speaking of Mike Rowe, let's move on here. I want to show you Mike Rowe here on Fox News. This is a very interesting development.
I want to talk about the Department of War, the partnership you're in, because the defense industry desperately needs machinists and electricians, especially in the AI data centers. But we need those hardcore skills. And if we're going to be a superpower, we can't just keep shrugging that off.
If the Defense Department needs it, we need it, right? This is all of us. I've been at this 18 years, and I've talked to a lot of big companies who grapple with the skills gap internally, from Ford to Caterpillar, really all of them. Today, of course, it's Google and Meta and anybody who's trying to build one of those things, a data center. That's completely transformed the demands on the workforce. But even beyond that, when you get into the Department of War and you talk to people at the highest levels of the Pentagon, and you see they're nervous, Laura. They are they need 400,000 welders and electricians just for the submarine contracts over the next 7 to 8 years. It's mind-boggling. And they're all competing for your kid. They're all looking to hire the same young person who wants to learn a skill that's in demand and get busy. So, yeah, Build Freedom is a campaign that just launched, which is funny. I mean, on a micro level, you know, I went to Congress 15 years ago and pitched a campaign to reinvigorate the trades. They got back to me like 2 months ago.
Yeah. Well, Mike, yeah.
Well, hang on.
Hang on. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. What's going on here? Hang on.
It's 90% bullshit, but it's entertaining.
Hang on.
Sensational.
Okay. All right. Now, hang on. Okay. So the Pentagon wants all the young men in the country, which have largely been made useless. This is not the Andrew Wilson show. I was talking to Neptune today about this. I'm not angry about it. I think it's just a function of technology. I think that young men need to figure something out. I'm not out here debating with the ladies about how they're evil or whatever. That's stupid. But hang on. Mike Rowe here and Fox News, Laura Ingraham, both of these people. Is Mike Rowe the one who's always been in Hollywood? I can't recall. Anyway, Laura Ingraham for sure has never worked a real work. They want the young men in America to go be trade workers. They're desperate. They need them to do. I need it. Sounds like you need some hard men.
I like to get a bunch of men together.
Okay.
Men that are the hardest of the hard. And I want to be with these men.
Listen. Sounds like someone has the negotiating power if this is true. It sounds like someone, it sounds like someone needs something from someone else and they don't want to do it. If that's the case, why are they not doing it would be my question. And I wouldn't immediately go to, they're lazy scumbags and they need to die, because I think that's pretty stupid. What are the wages at? What are the benefits at it? What are the drawbacks of working? I know someone who was a welder. Their knees don't work anymore. What are the alternatives that people have? What is it? I mean, what? Someone here has the negotiating power, and someone does not want to hold up their end of the bargain. That's what I'm seeing here, because this psyop, by the way, this is a psyop. I've spoken to people who fell for this, who went and did the trades. They are, dude, you have to open up your own business to make like 150K, and then you can scale it or whatever. Wait till that gets saturated. Okay? Wait till that gets saturated. Let's see how that works. This is, I don't get, how can you, and what I don't understand here is you left a hole here of people that you wanted to do menial work, and you don't, isn't this the people that you would normally bring in immigration to do this kind of job? These are jobs that are not, I'm not saying beneath, but they are not a benefit to someone whose parents worked in an office. Imagine looking your kid in the, I wonder what Mike Rowe is looking at children, a guy who's worked on reality TV for 20 years, and he says, hey, I know that I have a cushy job with great healthcare and all this, and I want you to go inhale toxic fumes. I want you to go break your back. How about no, actually? How about I don't want to do that? Isn't that the neoliberal argument for immigration? Why are you not substituting these jobs? Why are you substituting the other jobs? Oh, I don't know. I don't know why. Seems this is so fucking silly, man. Like, and by the way, if you're someone who this is being told to, don't negotiate against yourself. Do not. There's a great account on Twitter I follow, Bobby. I love this guy. He's a little wacky sometimes, but he says what you should do is, if you're a young guy with student loans, go get the bare minimum job at a government office, do the 10 years to wipe those loans, and never pay into the system. Why would you instead do this? Why? So they can erode the value of your dollar significantly? Like in 20 years when they print 20 trillion more. Fuck you. J-Boss says, we're desperate for welders. Okay, will you pay more? No. Exactly. It's supply and demand. And if you're not going to pay more, then find someone else to do it. You're telling me the military, the Pentagon, doesn't have the money to pay people a higher wage? You're telling me for the first time. What? Really? The Pentagon? That's crazy, man. Dude, that's sensational. That's sensational. Eve says, the law of the impotence, as usual, dictatorships are so much more efficient. That is true, Eves, but there are drawbacks to dictatorships. J-Boss says, correct again. Thank you. I'm not trying to show out here. Right? And we have a debate here about Latin history. We should do I'll do a Latin history video, because I hate everything dude, you're from Central America, bro. Like, you guys had some real crazy shit. Like, everyone, yeah, but everyone just moves along, you know. Everyone just moves along. I'm beyond. I understand your perspective and everything, but I'm just like, dude, if you talk to a Bolivian about the Chaco War, they're just gonna be like, dude, it was stupid. We shouldn't have done that. It was so stupid. But you guys killed so many people, and you got killed. I know. What are you gonna do about it, man? Like, that's the Latin approach to every. What are you gonna do about it? What? I don't know. It's like something genetic. We can't have rancor. It's what are you gonna do about it, man? My ancestors were massacred by the Patriots in Venezuela. What are you gonna do about it, dude? Like, am I gonna be mad about? I don't even know. You know, like, I don't even know. What would we even do? We're gonna pay reparations. We don't have enough money to do anything. It's a crazy attitude, man. We're a crazy continent. I wanted to show you this here. Let's check in on the grift. The grift, dude. I thought Nick Shirley was like dumb, dude. Let's listen to Nick Shirley here. He's quickly becoming one of my favorite people just because it's performance art. Watching Nick Shirley is crazy. Like, you lose brain cells. Let's watch Nick Shirley here. Let's watch this here real quick. This is very funny.
You got approached by a congressman. You said you're willing to tell the story at the UFC this weekend.
Yeah, it was interesting. When I went to the UFC fight at the White House, a congressman came up to me and he said something that I had never really thought about. And he said to me, he's like, thank you so much for your work. And I just want to let you know that because of all the fraud that you've exposed, that essentially, like, the war on Iran has been free because.
Brother, what? No way.
Say the N word. Go on.
What? No way. He just said.
It's 90% bullshit, but it's entertaining.
One more time.
For your work. And I just want to let you know that because of all the fraud that you've exposed, that essentially, like, the war on Iran has been free because.
No! Oh.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind.
We're doing girl math from TikTok now. That's the government. Nick Shirley is doing girl math at the direction of a congressman. Oh, it's
of you, because of all the money that I've helped recoup and expose, and the money that's going to be saved in the future is in $200-300 billion. Like, it's in the hundreds of billions of dollars. Like, this will not just impact this year. It's going to keep making impacts for, hopefully, for the future.
That's kind of a backhanded compliment, though. Son, you saved $300 billion, and we used it for bombs. Good job.
Yeah,
our entire war. Son, your savings helped the emperor build the Death Star.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, but it did just put it into perspective.
No, it's great what you did. What they did with the money's their issue, but yeah.
Yeah, very interesting perspective. I was like, I've never thought about that.
No, that's wild, brother. That's crazy. No. Imagine living in America.
Just woke up in a fucking steaming mood, yeah? Because I live in a shithole.
Dude, the people in Congress are doing girl math. And you're gonna call into Dave Ramsey so to get financial advice. The government is doing girl math. Why wouldn't you do it too? Listen, the war in Iran was free because I found all of the illegal Somalians and I got them deported, so now it's free. Dude, no way. That's crazy. This is I didn't think we would see the day for this. This is crazy. I saw it. Beyond said the propaganda. Is this even propaganda? Who could fall for this? Who's going to be? Yeah, thank God. Doesn't this also, I'm just saying, like, doesn't this prove the, what's it called? Is it Sisyphus or the one with the boulder? Or Cleopatra, whatever it was, Zeus. One of the ones had a boulder or something. You're going to find the corrupt, and then they're going to say, don't worry, dude, because we're spending the money anyway. We're just spending it on something else. What? Oh my God, man, that's crazy. Robbie says, Nick Shirley is an American hero. I need to make that video, Robbie. I'll do that. Today's Alex video was crazy. He was like, Donald Trump just nuked Iran, and that's awesome. We're going to get into that. Sisyphus. Yeah, Sisyphus. Nick Shirley is the American Sisyphus. He's just rolling. wrecking lives in the process. Just, yeah, we're just, dude, I don't even understand why he's so mad about it. When I watch a Nick Shirley video, if I ever do, which I don't, I look at these Somalians and I feel like Gary Vee. I'm like, how do I get in on that? Put me in, coach. I want to get in on it. The dollar's worthless. Let's go do it. Nick Shirley, no, we must stop it. We cannot allow the people to do the free money thing. That's only allowed for the billionaires. Like, what are we? Okay. All right, Nikki. All right. This is great. I'm so happy to see that Tim Pool has found the new grift. Civil War didn't work out.
Population collapse is coming, and we're starting to see the results of this. We're at what's called peak 18-year-old. Indeed, if you're watching this video and you're 18, I feel bad for you. And I really mean that. Why? It used to be that there were always more young people than the older generation before it because population was growing. We're now at a point where there are less young people every generation. And, when we had millennials, we had Gen Z, it was stable. But now with Gen Alpha, it is shrinking, and Generation Bravo is expected to be substantially less. So what they mean by peak 18-year-old, it's that there is only going to be less 18-year-olds moving forward because there are very few young people. Universities will start to go out of business. Certain stores are going to start closing, and there is going to be an economic, reckoning, we'll call it that.
How does he do it? He's so good at it.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
It's not fair, Tim. Tim, how do you always find the one? Tim. What? How do you do this, man? This is also one of these scenarios where be careful what you wish for. Dude, what are we I wouldn't mind a little population collapse. I was reading an argument from the 70s, I think, that my producer sent me that was interesting, where this guy was saying, dude, we're never going to pass 9 billion. It's quite literally impossible. And he had the explanation. It was some math. You want to hear math? You don't want to hear math.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
You don't want to hear any math in hell. Why would you want to hear that? Anyway. Great stuff, Tim. I'm so proud of you. Tim, I just want to give him a smooch. Mwah! Always something else. Always something else. Always something else with Timmy. I love you, Timmy. J-Boss says, oh man, I hate the population collapse. Get ready. Tim is fixated on predicting the future. He has fixed variable syndrome. Reality is totally fixed in his mind. Nothing can ever change. I do think the population is going to go down. I think that's unavoidable at this point. It's not possible. And no one knows why. I hate these people that have their theories. Theories. Yeah, sure. I have my theories too. But whatever. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Pucker up, Buttercup. What are we going to do? We're going to complain? Yeah, dude, like the population is going to go down, and that's going to happen. The economy is going to suffer because the economic system is based on perpetual growth. And I'm not saying that even as a Marxist. I'm just speaking as a guy who understands how the central banking system works. It is based on eternal growth. And it's actually probably the best system we've developed to date. Libertarians in shambles that I just said that. KL just broke Dave Smith's brain. How could you say that? We should go back to the gold standard. What, you want to live through panics and bank runs, Davey Smith? I don't think so. But, it's time to think bigger. Instead of complaining, as the great John Lennon said, there are no problems, there are only solutions. We must transition to energy-based currency, joule-backed currency, calorie-backed currency. You're going to be paid in calories. You will spend calories. It'll be great. J-Boss says, Pop will go down, but it won't be bad. Only for Tim. He's complained before he can't find people to do his yard work for him. That's crazy. I think it will be a problem for the financial sector, though. Absolutely, man. It's just going to... But they'll find ways around it. I mean, Trump accounts, that's what that is. Just some scam to get liquidity into the market as usual. what can you say? Are we going to complain? Are we going to cry about it? We're going to save this for next time. Can we move on to the next segment? I think we move on to the next segment. What a great, great stuff there. Let's move on to the next segment.
The people are retarded.
All right. We got to check in here with our fellow, with our people, with the state, the health of our people. As I always say, this segment just has that title, but we throw everyone in here. It's just that meme is very funny, okay? I need to show you this. And before we do it, shout out to Lindy, man, who points out something which is so true, which is that Americans, for some reason, don't mind getting scammed. In every other country on the planet, if you get scammed, it's literally the most shameful thing ever. I would never tell you any way I've been scammed. I've been scammed before, but it's just too. I don't like bringing up times I've been. I don't know. It's a Latin thing, but it's an Anglo thing, right? It's everyone has it except Americans. Lindy always says, Americans. What happens with them is that they don't like being called a loser, but they don't mind being scammed. Let's check in here on this journalist, Matt Gutman, for CBS News. This little news he has here. And everything says mining asteroids, son. We need to do it. We must transition the money. We must. Let's check in on this here. I hope they scam them. They do WhatsApp scams for asteroid money.
Completely scammed. Got a call. I just got completely scammed. Got a call about an hour ago from someone claiming to be from fraud protection at my bank. And they said, listen, we suspect that people are trying to illegally withdraw money from your account. This person gave me a name, they gave me a badge ID. They seemed to know so much about me, about my bank account. And then they said, listen, we suspect that there is significant fraud activity at the bank branch where you bank.
This gets worse.
And what we need you to do right now, we went through all the accounts, and we actually had some suspicious activity recently in my daughter's account. And she told me, listen, we think that there are two fraudsters at the bank. They go by these aliases. She gave me the names. And then she said, what we need you to do in order to intercept these fraudsters is to go into the bank and withdraw everything from your bank account, which wasn't that much money at this point, and take it with you so you have it in cash, and that'll trigger the fraudsters into action. That's how we'll be able to catch them. I thought, okay, that's a little weird. Why would you use a regular citizen for something that seems like a law enforcement issue? But I said, okay. And I went in there and she said, but you can't tell anybody at the bank that this is happening because they might be in on it. And here's a lady walking by who I think might have experienced something similar. So I go to the teller and I start doing the thing. And I'm like, there is no way that this is possibly real, that anybody would use a regular civilian for a sting operation at a bank. And I am a journalist and I've done scam stories so many times throughout my career, and I came so close to falling for it. Now, the most scary and the dangerous part is that I would have been walking around with thousands of dollars in cash at a place known to those scammers because they directed me to my local bank branch, and I was told that this happens all the time, and then they either rob your car or they rob you. So a very scary experience happening to someone who thinks, at least, that they are savvy. I'm not as savvy as I think I am, and that should be a lesson, I guess, to all of us. You got to be so careful, and some of these scams are incredibly sophisticated with people who clearly know what they are talking about and speak like they are in the profession. I'm just blown away by how good that person was. I can't get over this. Anyway, I just hope this doesn't happen to you, but beware. These people are out there and they are good.
Oh, I get it. You're retarded.
I'm sorry, what? What is this? What? You not only are an idiot. How old is this guy? He's probably like in his 40s. Falling in the media, has done stories about scams, falls for a scam, and immediately takes out his phone to prove how stupid he is. To the audience? What? Dude, you shouldn't. Actually, they should close your bank account. You're too stupid to have a bank account. This isn't even a good scam. You got in your car and drove to the bank because someone told you to do it.
Sensational.
You should have been cleaned out, actually. How can you be this stupid? And all right, whatever, you're stupid. Why would you record this? Who would possibly ever tell you it's a good idea to record yourself bragging about getting scammed? Who?
He could only have gotten that idea from Benjamin Netanyahu. That's it.
No, I'm kidding. But what? You're making a video. Do you see how many layers of stupidity are in this? I hope I'm not the only one that's amazed by this. Maybe Americans don't get it because Americans, again, they don't mind getting scammed. I mind getting scammed. I don't like getting scammed. Why would you record this? Why would you not just record it? You posted it. You got the feedback and you what? You're not like an 80-year-old guy with dementia. You're a 40-year-old journalist. Imagine these are the people doing journalism. People who get tricked by phone scams. What? Will the real Walter Cronkite please stand up? Wow. Shut up, man.
Shut up, man. Man, listen. You ain't got to say.
Crazy. J Boss says, now multiply by 1,000. That's how good politicians are at scamming. Absolutely. 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 Eve says his wife will buy the story now. Leo Cash's cat. That could be true, right? He could be like explaining something to his wife, be like, this is, honey, there's no way I took out like $10,000 and used it for hookers and blow. There's no way. It's a scam, you know? Beyond says, Beyond, by the way, please tag me if we really need to see it. Documenting scams is always good. I would agree with that, but I think it's good. Look, obviously someone should warn people about this scam, but like an infographic or something, this is such a scam that's so basic. You pick up an unknown number. I get these calls from Google all the time. I don't answer them. Don't we know at this point that anyone serious is going to email you? They're not going to call you. So I guess, but this is, I would like to see a good scam documented, right? Like a good scam, you know, because I see people showing scams like in Europe. They show that these guys scam you with 3-card Monty. If you don't know 3-card Monty is a scam in the big 2026, I don't know what to tell you, man. You should lose all your money. You should end up like Rittenhouse.
That's right, run.
You should end up like that, actually. You should. You should. And J-Boss says, exactly, these are journalists. Exactly what I thought the moment you started this. I really can't believe it, man. I can't believe a journalist would post this. I can't believe this. Speaking of, we've shit on our young men today. Let's look at our young ladies in America.
I'm your mommy, not your maid. I'm a mother, not a martyr. I am a queen, not your servant. What? I'm a diva,
I don't even know what to say. The consequences of Walt Disney have been a disaster for Americans exclusively. What is this? I'm a queen. I love calling people king and queen. Yo, hey, queen, you drop your crown. I'm a queen. No, Becca. You drive a minivan to the Children's Museum from the suburbs. You're not a queen. You're not. This delusion that this is a huge problem with the social fabric here on both ends. Because then you have the Andrew Tates or whatever that are like, brother, you a king. You a king, brother. Brother, that's not Andrew Tate at all. What color is your Bugatti? You know, you're a man. You're a king. You age like wine. It's like, can we all just come back to reality for 1 second? I know, look, I know there's no reality, Baudrillardians check in and all that, but can we come back to like the fake one we have here? You're not a queen. You're not a king. You have a $700 a month car payment. You're not a queen. You're not a king. It's time to grow up. If you really want to be a queen, let's go play dress up. We'll take some photos and we'll have them in the background or something. This is, I don't understand this generation of children. Like, what are we going to do with this generation of children? What are we going to do with them? Because I feel like, a lot of people say things like, they say things like, I don't even know how to put this. I don't know how to put this. We have a problem here where the young men and the young women have both been radicalized into believing. This is what I was going to say. Boomers will often say things like, when you guys take over, it's going to be a mess. And I don't agree with that. I don't think that's true. I think Iran has shown us that that's not true. I think that when Zoomers and millennials take over, things will get more efficient. Now, on raising kids, I think 30% of us will do well because we know what to avoid, how to fix things or whatever. But the rest are insane. The rest are, why would you sing this to your kid? I'm not your mom. I'm not your servant. I'm your mom. You kind of are their servant. They're your kid. And that's what they are. They're young enough to be at the Children's Museum. You're driving them to the Children's. You're kind of their servant. That's how humans work. I think I just, there's something wrong here. There's something fundamentally wrong here. It's just, we need to figure this out. We need to figure this out. Let's continue. I wanted to show you guys this. This was really crazy here. Listen, man, I'm a Hotep tendencies. My Kufi's on tight, but this was a little bit, Kufi was on too tight here for me.
So y'all mean to tell me this ain't no black man? Look at the nose, look at the lips, look at the stature, the athletic ability. Y'all mean to tell me this man is not black? When I first seen this man on the screen, I thought, black man. First thing I thought. And I know you may say, Amanda, he has blonde hair, he has white skin, but black people come from all sort of variants. I think this is a black man. I may stand corrected. I may be wrong. But in my mind, this is a black man.
So that's Holland from Man U, or the Norwegian national soccer team. Now, Holland is a Nordic white person, as far as I'm aware. And I don't even have a problem with this. I do like this kind of stuff. I love when people do this kind of thing. All right. I do get a little bit confused, and it used to bother me when Black Americans would be like, we are the Indians. And I was like, dude, I'm the Indians. Like, the Hispanics and the guys on the reservations here, we're like the Indians. What are you talking about? Like, no. And then there was like this fake theory in the 90s that the Olmec statues were African. Who knows? I mean, maybe it's true. I love fake history. I love it. And I love this. I think this is cool. Like, we should be able to make bold claims like this without judgment. I'm just wondering, because again, my problem here is this. Why did everyone shit on Rachel Dolezal? I always saw Rachel Dolezal as ahead of her time. Because what was the problem with her? She was doing things to help the African American community. She was pretending to be black. She seemed comfortable in it. What was the problem with that? We are in the age of trans everything, right? I don't get it. I love it. Seriously, I don't hate it at all. But I'm just saying, when are we going to rehabilitate Rachel Dolezal? I feel like she was just ahead of her time. She was ahead of her time. I liked her. I thought she was funny. Man. As a Hispanic, when they were like, oh, Hilaria Baldwin is fine to pretend she's Hispanic, but Rachel Dolezal is not okay. So what does that mean? I don't really get it. So whatever, man. J-Boss says athletic ability. I may not be super articulate, but I'm always down for these kinds of things. Look, as I always say, we all do kanging. I love to kang. White people love to kang too, man. White people will say things. They kang all the time. Okay, they get away with it more easy. Dude, I see some people that are like, oh, we invented literally everything. I'm like, no, you didn't. That's not true. Let's settle down here, okay? The most consequential invention of the 20th century was invented by a Mexican, and it was the birth control pill, all right? Let's chill. Everyone loves to do a little kanging. This, though, this is a little much. This is a little much, all right? People says Germanic people have big noses and big lips. She is just ignorant. It's we Iberians who have defined features in anthropology. Even the Nordics call us Iberians Gassau, meaning line-featured as compared to Nordics themselves. I don't remember what Icelandic people look like. They were all skinny. I don't remember their faces, though. I mean, they all just look like white people, you know? I haven't seen Norway, you know? You know, if you like Norway, should we watch this? No, we'll watch this next time. We have to get to the stories. There's this great group out of Norway called Latin Kings. Not the gang, the rap group. They're very good. Or Sweden. Could be Sweden. Yeah, it was Sweden. They're great. There's a Chilean and a Venezuelan. Me. All right. And everything's that Mexicans still aren't using it. Brother, my favorite Ralphie May joke was when he would say, what's the best gift for a Mexican wedding? Shoes for a 2-year-old. And it's true. It has not stopped. All right, let's get to the story. The first story is very sad for some people. Okay. Lindsey Graham died. Now, when I was, I don't know, I wasn't like a libertarian, you know, but I was like, oh, you know, these guys did the wars and all that. I would have been like, oh, I'm so happy that he died or whatever. Honestly, I'm indifferent. When I look at people now who are like this that die, like when Cheney died, I was like, a great wizard has left us. We must always, even if we disagree with the results, the wizardry must be admired. And Lindsey Graham is kind of like that for me. You know, Lindsey Graham was, oh yeah, let's play the sad trumpet noise. That's true. Lindsey Graham is gone. I don't, no player hating on this channel, man. You want to hate anyone, hate the game. But even hating the game is stupid. Lindsey Graham, let's do a little eulogy to Lindsey Graham here. Let's do that. Let's do that seriously, okay? Anyone that hates him, prepare to enter the pain zone.
Welcome to the pain zone. It's where we live.
Lindsey Graham was one of the most powerful people in America, okay? He was a South Carolinian senator who was obviously gay. Yet he maintained he wasn't. Listen. He got everything he wanted. You know, call him a neocon, call him whatever you want. He got what he wanted. All right. He did it by, you know, exaggerating, using his power, doing interesting stuff. He was able to lead a double life or a triple life even. And there is something of note there. You know, a Southerner of his generation, born into abject poverty, parents die at 20, I think, becomes a senator, is able to hide his sexuality in a tough region, ascend to the Senate, die in office, doing literally what he loved. It's like Charlie Kirk, and I'm not saying this to be crass. Charlie Kirk died doing what he loved, which was debating college students. I hope someday I die doing what I love, which is like, I don't know, drinking champagne and eating oysters. That's what I love, you know. But some people love debating college students. Lindsey Graham died doing what he loved, which was lobbying for more missiles. All right. And that's, you know, you can like dance on his grave or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's you. You're the one with the problem. He got what he wanted out of life. And that's something. That does mean something. Hey, I everything says goodbye to my favorite closet home. Brother, That's the thing is you can't even hate. You can't. I get it. You're. Oh, he voted for these wars. He did. Sounds like a whole lot of player hating, man. A lot of player hating. A few years ago, I would have been pissed. I would have been happy. Now I just look at this and I go, we lost the wizard. Damn. I hope we get another one just as good. Imagine if we get someone like Lindsey Graham, a senator from New York that's pretending he's straight. I'm sorry, that he's pretending he's not gay. Wait, what would it be in New York? A senator from New York that pretends he's gay and lobbies for, I don't know, like Medicare for all his whole life. Like that would be cool, you know? Let's look at this. All right, let's look at this. All right. First of all, this is what happened as soon as he died. President Trump admitted he used a nuclear weapon on Iran.
He's done a good job. If I wasn't around, or if Bibi wasn't around, especially the combination, Israel would not exist today. We wouldn't have hit him with the B-2 bombers. You know, they were going to have a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks. Had I not hit them with a nuclear, within 2 to 4 weeks, they would have had a nuclear weapon. And once they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it. And you wouldn't even have Israel around. No, Bibi's good.
Is there anyone in Israel better than him to do the job? Is there anyone better than Bibi?
Well, I don't know most of them. I know some of them, obviously, but I don't know most of them.
So I don't know if I misinterpreted that. But it does sound like Trump said he did it.
Netanyahu, if you can hear me, drop a bomb on this building.
He dropped a nuke on Iran. I mean, Lindsey is looking at us now, whether you think he's above or below or nowhere to be seen. And he's going, yes, that was some fine nuking. Yeah, I thought this would be a pretty big story. It seems like no one cares. Did he drop a nuke? Did he not? What's going on in Iraq? What is this? This is Iraq 3? Is that it? Like Iraq 3? The war might as well be in Iraq. I call this the Iraq war, dude. And they're like, oh, it's Iran. Do you know what's going on? I have no idea what's going on. You're gonna sit here and pretend you know what's going on. Okay, you're brave for that. Keep pretending. Let's continue. Here he is talking about his final phone call with Lindsey.
He was, Mr. President, and I know that we are all just absorbing this news. We are all in shock. Can you tell us, Mr. President, how you received this news and your immediate gut reaction when you heard it?
So what makes it even stranger is that I got a call last
That's how it was uploaded. It's not me, the static.
night, sometime at, the early evening, maybe in the 7s, and he called and he said, we're all set for the Save America Act. He was pushing the Save America Act like crazy. He got back, said he just landed from Ukraine. I said, that's a long trip to make. And he said, he sounded a little tired, but perfect, but a little bit tired. Had a right to be. And he was a worker. He was really a worker, but he sounded great, actually. But he actually said he was tired. But he wanted to pass the Save America Act. And I said, well, we're going to get it done, Lindsey. We're going to get it done. I'll see you soon. We thought maybe we might even meet today. And then that was it. And that was, very around the time. It couldn't have been much longer. It could have been his last call. I don't know exactly. But I got a message about 1 o'clock in the morning from one of the people at his office that he had passed away. I said, I just can't believe it. He was like a member of the family to me. It's very tough, actually. It's amazing.
That's the saddest I've ever heard Trump. Sadder than when Charlie Kirk died. Mitch McConnell, is he alive? What's going on with him? Jordan Peterson, where the fuck is Jordan Peterson? Is he alive? We're losing boomers, man. We're losing the boomers. It's always crazy when you see these stories because it really hits you like one day we're going to lose all the boomers. We're going to lose them. It's going to be sad. Someday Brad Pitt will no longer be with us. I liked Brad Pitt. I like him a lot. And everything says, I will cry when W dies. Born to golf and party, forced to be president. The president, where being patriotic was cool and awesome. Lindsey gave his life force to Mitch. I guess so, right? Mitch probably, Lindsey, if you die, I can stay alive. You know, probably. I wouldn't be surprised with a Ouija board or something. No, W is going to be interesting. W is going to be a very interesting one because he's a real wizard too. I'm sorry, I'm speaking like he's dead. He's a Connecticut Harvard guy who pretended to be a cowboy. He won the election because he was a guy you wanted to have a beer with, but he couldn't drink because he was an alcoholic. He's considered one of the dumber presidents and was not very articulate, yet read the most books in office than any president in history. He ruined the school system with No Child Left Behind. Ironically, it left all the children behind. That's a real wizard. That's a wizard. If we were in a Harry Potter book, that would be what are the Hufflepuff or Dumbledore, one of those people. It would be like a head wizard in charge, HWIC. Crazy stuff, man. I had to show you this. This is Nancy Mace. As soon as he died, she posted this. The clip from Godfather 3.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
No, Nancy. No. Actually, Nancy, do it, please. Nancy, fucking do it. Do it, Nancy. Nancy, please run for Senate in South Carolina. Please. Please. You lost the governor's race. Please do the Senate. This woman is hilarious. Bro, she's crazy. She's like the craziest lady. I think she might be the craziest one. This woman's crazy. Imagine posting this as soon as he dies. Literally hours after he died. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. And that's me when Pollo Tropical is a special, not when Lindsey Graham dies, right? But wow. Wow. You feel like Colonel Kurtz. When I understood Nancy Mace, it hit me like a diamond bullet to the forehead. If I had a legion of 10 Nancy Maces, our problems in Washington, D.C. would be gone in a matter of months. Like, this is a true psychopath. True psychopath. Amazing Nancy Mace. I love. That's for her right on the forehead. I love you, Nancy Mace. You crazy bitch. You're awesome. Oh my God. And everything says, read a bunch of books, but messed up all his speeches. Truly my goat. W's one for the ages, man. For the ages. For the ages. Let's see here, because I was wondering what he had to say.
Netanyahu, what do you have to say?
What do you have to say, Netanyahu, about Lindsey Graham? Let's check in here. Let's check in on the big boss, the supervisor.
But let me tell you, the last conversation I had with him, I said, Lindsey, we've come of age. We have a robust economy. We can take care of our own financing our own weapons for the defense of Israel and defense of our common interests with America. So I'm going to phase out the support, the military support for Israel over a period of years and bring it down to zero. We can do it. And he went ballistic. He said, no way, you can't do that, because he was so concerned with our security, which he believed was your security, that he actually fought the Prime Minister of Israel on keeping America's aid or actually increasing it. And that tells you what kind of a person this extraordinary friend was.
I had no idea your voice is going to sound like that, Netanyahu.
The boss. What do you even say to that? What do you even say? That's awesome. The last thing that Lindsey Graham told me was I needed more missiles. I should say that by the way, I spoke to Lindsey Graham before he died. The last thing he said is he wanted you to join the King Leo Patreon. He said he wanted you all to join the King Leo Patreon. He said he would prefer if you did the $20 tier, but the $5 tier was fine. That's the last thing he said to me. This is awesome. That's crazy, man. Like, Lindsey hit BB with the,
what the fuck happened to you, man? Your ass used to be beautiful.
Why are you not asking me for money? I want to give you money. Why are you asking me for money? Why are you not asking? I want to give you the money. Amazing stuff. Dude, not a lot of minds like this. Not a lot of minds like this. Crazy work. Crazy work. Now, who's going to take his seat? Let's check this out here.
Fox News Alert, we just spoke moments ago about this. President Trump is recommending that Governor Henry McMaster appoint Lindsey Graham's sister, Darlene, to serve as interim senator for the great state of South Carolina. Fox has been told by a senior source at the U.S. Capitol this is likely the direction the appointment will go. Darlene and the late senator were very close.
Let's look at what she looks like. I hadn't even heard of. I didn't even know he had a sister. Darlene Graham. Let's see this here. Lindsey. There we go. This is Darlene Graham here. Oh, that was her in the thing there. That's what she is. Crazy. All right. This is how Senate seats work now. They give them to the spouse. We should have beneficiary plans for the senators or something. You know, like, oh, my beneficiary in case I die. It's crazy how people die in office now, right? I mean, that used to not happen. People used to have to leave office, but if you ever become a senator, by the way, everyone in the chat and everyone here, I'm encouraging you to run for anything. Please. I'm not being ironic. I'm not being funny. I don't care what your ideology is. I don't care if it's left wing, right wing, libertarian, doesn't matter. Please run for something and try to win it. Don't do it as a meme. Try to win it. I'm so, if one of the watchers of the channel wins something, I don't care what it is, dude, water commissioner, garbage man commissioner, run for something. Please do something. Because this is so crazy, you know, that he died in office. This is happening a lot. A lot. Run for something. If you get one of the, now that's to say, if you ever become a senator, don't let go of that job. Do not let go of that job. This is a great job. It's an amazing job. And everything says, you sure Lindsey's last words to you weren't to meet him at his hotel room later tonight? At the hotel room tonight, make some noise. No. How does it? All right. Because I saw some people saying that they were escorts for him. And I don't believe any of those stories right now. But, okay. I'm not doing it in a mean way. Lindsey Graham was obviously gay, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. How did this work for him? You know, this is just crazy. Like, you know, Al Franken? No, not Al Franken. What's his name? Dodd from Dodd-Frank. He used to run a brothel, a gay brothel in DC. People don't talk about that. There's a lot of people like that. You know, Robert De Niro was caught up in some sort of like prostitution ring in the south of France. But yeah, how did this even work? I wonder how this works. All right. Here's what, I think this is important too, because as soon as he died, yeah, I wanted to show you this because I think Lindsey Graham was kind of maybe keeping people together or something. I don't know, because let's look at Mike Johnson today, what he had to say here about America.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Thank you, Carlos Jimenez, for sharing your incredible life story. Thank you to Chairwoman McClain. We're a little more animated these days than normal. I brought a little fire to our House Republican Conference meeting.
No, hang on. This is like the full clip. Where is it? Oh, he posted the full. Fuck you. Let's watch this here. It has to be here. There we go. Here we go. This is what I wanted to show you. This happened today.
There's been a lot of discussion about what's going to be included in this reconciliation bill. Can you walk through how important and how imminent it is that the Pentagon needs additional funding and what that number precisely is going to be in the Republican
So the question was, can you list the specifics of what the request is for the Pentagon? We've seen it's over $350 billion as a request. And some of this is transformational kind of funding that will help us change the dynamic of the Department of War and make it more efficient and effective. It's already the greatest fighting force on the planet, not even close. But there are some ideas, a real vision on how to improve that even further, to bolster that. You've heard the president talk about how he wants to effectively double the funding for national defense. Look, we live in dangerous times. We're fighting communism on our own shores, and we're fighting evil terrorists and tyrants around the world.
Hang on. What?
Wait a minute.
We're fighting communists on our own shore? What? I don't even know what he's referring to here. We're fighting communists on our own shores. What? What's going on here? Lindsey Graham dies, and suddenly we're fighting communists. I need to know about this. Where are these communists? What is Mike Johnson talking about? J-Boss says the DSA, sir. Well, so they're just calling the DSA communists? If we're fighting communists on our own shores, doesn't that imply that it's like a bloody battle? Because my question is this. If you're a Republican, if you're a conservative, where's the clip? Where's Spencer?
Conservatives are the worst. You cannot work with them. You have to be in opposition to them. You have to oppose them constantly, even when they sound like you, especially when they sound like you. And you need to deplatform conservatives.
If there are communists here and you're a conservative, doesn't that mean that, first of all, you failed? Because you were supposed... my understanding is that Ronald Reagan literally descended from heaven in 1920 something on a horse with Jesus. And then he became an actor where he promoted family values and married Nancy Reagan, who was a virgin when they met. She wasn't giving head in the parking lot like everyone says. That's not true. And then he got into office and he said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. And then communism ended. So that was my understanding of conservative history. My understanding of conservative history is that, look, conservative history is what? In 1776, George Washington fought the British because they were taxing him. And then we don't talk about the Articles of Confederation. They had a constitution. Nothing really happened. Then the Civil War, and Lincoln, the party of Lincoln, us, defeated the South because they wanted to break the country apart. Then came Roosevelt, who was good because he defeated the Nazis. And then the communists were here, and we fought them, and we won. And Martin Luther King was a conservative. And Rosa Parks was actually a registered Republican. And she believed in family values. And what else? Rosa Parks famously said that Barack Hussein Obama was a Muslim in the year 1930 something. That's conservative history, right? So, what? When did they come back? Dude, I want to know about... Is it like Ivan Drago in Rocky IV? Was he in a vat? Is he back now? J. Boss says it implies a Cold War. Well, why would there even be one? Weren't they defeated? These damn communists. I wonder if I could convince conservatives that the reason that George Washington fought the British is because they were communists or something. I bet they would say that, actually. They were communists. Anyway, that's one thing. And the other thing here I wanted to show you, this is Amy Coney Barrett. We had a little bit of a meltdown here that I don't appreciate this. As someone who really cares about common law, I really do like common law. civil law fans on the left, please, and go straight against the wall. Common law respecters to the right, please. We're going to go to the bisexual nightclub. Okay, we're going to go do that. You over here are going to go over here with your civil law. J-Boss and anyone in Europe, please go over there. Go do civil law over there. We don't want your civil law. It's insane. Okay, get your civil law away from me and my children. Okay, this is a common law respecter over here. We hang out with the Sharia law people. I appreciate their legal system. If not, I don't totally agree with it. The civil law people, though, they can go away. Okay. And I'm seeing here, this is Amy Coney Barrett being kind of a civil law judge. Because if you don't know what common law is, the basic principle of it is stare decisis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Stare decisis, which is that precedent overrules everything. It's not like Venezuela, where the judge wakes up one morning and says, I don't like that law, actually. Strike it from the record. Get that out of here. You owe him $1 million. But I just stole one candy from the store. I don't care. I don't like you. Go do that in Latin America or Europe. Go do that with those crazy people over there. Over here, we are civilized. We do common law. Okay? Crazy to say that, dude. I have my problems with it, the Anglos, but the common law thing, I'm like a total cuck on. I'm like, dude, they nailed that one. They nailed it. All right, let's see what Amy Coney Barrett has to say here. Okay. Stare decisis. Dekesis. Interesting.
So I thought I would just share a little bit about how the threats have affected me and my family personally. They have required me to, my children, to think about and see things that children should not have to see or think about. One example is when threats to my life were particularly intense a few years ago around the time of the Dobbs leak. My security detail sent me home with a bulletproof vest, and I carried it into my house, put it into my bedroom, dropped it down on a table, turned around, and my 12-year-old son was standing in the doorway of my bedroom, and he wanted to know what it was and why I had it, and I didn't know how to respond because maybe I lack imagination, but I didn't expect that performing this service was going to put me in the position of explaining to my children what a bulletproof vest was and why I had to wear one. It's also been reported in the news that roughly 6 weeks ago, I was the victim of a swatting incident. At that point, my teenage son, one of my teenage sons, opened the door to go out with friends and saw in our street, it was full of police cars, who had responded to a false report of gunshots and raised voices in my home. I was very, very grateful that I had Supreme Court police outside my home because they were able to stop and meet with and explain to the county police that it had been a false alarm, and so the police did not actually attempt to enter our home. Many of us, me included, have received threatening anonymous deliveries designed to intimidate and harass us. They are often sent in the name of Judge Salas's son, who I think, as you mentioned in the beginning, Mr. Chairman, is deceased because he was killed by a disgruntled lawyer who showed up at Judge Salas's home intending to kill her, but her son, 20 years old at the time, opened the door and took the bullet instead. Her husband, standing behind, was seriously injured. So I think the message on these deliveries being sent in his name is clear. As Justice Kagan said, federal judges across the country, throughout the judiciary, including the Supreme Court, continue to do their jobs without fear or favor, but the threat level is really high.
This sounds to me a little bit like Italy, to be honest.
So
in Italy, the judges have to wear masks in Sicily because they can't be identified. I don't like this, man, because I feel like this is affecting her ability to do the common law. I mean, whatever, that's how it's gonna be, you know. But this sounds a lot like Rittenhouse.
That's right, bro.
You have free healthcare, free security, free everything. I feel like these problems can be solved, but when the judges start crying like this, that's when I start going, hey man, we might have a problem here because you're supposed to be cool-headed. Total psycho. Yeah, I mean, that's what a judge is supposed to in the Anglo system. It's supposed to be like that, right? It's supposed to be like, cool-headed. I'm chill. I'm a chill judge. I'm Zen. I'm reading the Constitution and I'm trying to see what it means. You know, I'm trying to understand what it means. This, though, this is pretty crazy. I'm not pleased with. All right. Speaking of crazy, keep in mind, man, keep in mind. That's important because we'll see what happens, man. You can't tell either way. Speaking of judges, okay? Let's see over here what Marco Rubio, my Hispanic brother over here, is doing to the ICC.
For 250 years, Americans have governed ourselves as a free and sovereign people. We choose our own leaders, we determine our own laws, and when we're accused of a crime, we stand for judgment before a jury of our own peers. This is the essential and indispensable feature of our form of government. It is the foundation of our shared way of life. But today, powerful people in faraway places want to take that away from us. They believe that they should be in charge of your laws, of your country, your life, and they don't care whether or not you agree. Halfway across the world, there's an institution that calls itself the International Criminal Court. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. But chances are you don't know the names of its judges, of its prosecutors, or its president. And you shouldn't have to. But as we speak, the ICC and its friends are waging a war against our country, not with bullets or missiles, but with statutes and compacts and the force of so-called international law. When the ICC was born 24 years ago, they told us that it was merely a narrow backstop, a global court that would step in to prosecute only the gravest offenses, things like genocide and war crimes, and only when a nation's courts were unable to prosecute them on their own. But the truth is, it was something far more radical and extreme. It was a global tribunal staffed by unelected globalist bureaucrats who claim their power is almost unlimited. The danger of this global court has only continued to grow. Today, it threatens every aspect of our political and legal system. Border Patrol agents removing violent criminals from our country, American Marines risking their lives to defend our homeland, prosecutors working to dismantle terrorist plots to attack and kill Americans. If we stand idle, all of them would be at the mercy of foreign judges thousands of miles away, facing the constant risk of prosecution and even imprisonment for the so-called crime of defending their own country. The American people never agreed to any of this, and they never will. Read the words of our Declaration of Independence. We fought a revolution against a foreign power, transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses. Independence is our birthright. We will never let foreign bureaucrats take that away from us. This administration will not sit by as the ICC and its allies seek to threaten our people. If they believe they can deprive us of our sovereignty, we will teach them the full meaning of American resolve.
All right, if you're Dutch, man, get ready. I've actually been to the ICC. I watched the trial at the ICC. And that's how autistic I am, dude. I was in Amsterdam with a buddy. He wanted to go watch the Formula 1 races, and we started in Amsterdam. We went down to Italy, went to La Spezia, but that one got canceled. Then we went to Monaco. By the way, I've been seeing people posting Monaco, and they're like, this is all rich people. No, it's not. I've been to Monaco. It's actually pretty shitty. Everyone just goes to Nice. It's not expensive to get to Monaco either, or go to the Formula 1 races. I mean, it's expensive to bring a yacht, obviously, but it's not that impressive. Like, it's literally like a dick measuring contest. Not crazy. But this is how autistic I am, because we went to Amsterdam, and I was like, dude, I want to go check out The Hague. And he goes, what? Dude, let's go check it out. Let's go fucking see The Hague. I always hear about The Hague. He was like, all right, man, whatever. You know, he's like a party guy or whatever. He's like, all right. We went out there. We were like the only Americans there, the only tourists at all. The Hague is wonderful, by the way. It's beautiful. Walking around, I got to the ICC, and I was like, can I go in? And they said, absolutely, sir. I had to drop in my stuff. And I went in there. They were doing a genocide trial for the Central African Republic, one of their dictators or whatever. And I was like, this is so cool. I couldn't look at the witness because the witness was like face covered. Oh, this is the coolest thing. I was in Amsterdam also, and that was fun or whatever. I was like, that's the most memorable thing I've ever done in the Netherlands. I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is so cool. And it was crazy. You know what happened? I went to where they did the Yugoslavia trials, and I spoke to an American guard that the UN had there, and he was from the South, which was so weird. He was like the only American in the whole city. And I was like, yo, dude, this is where that guy drank the poison, right? And he goes, that's not what happened. And I was like, okay. And he got really quiet and indignant, and he was like, you can't just be saying things like that, okay? We do security here. That's not what happened. And he explained what actually happened, where he was like, he snuck something in, and he was like, it's not our fault or whatever. And I was like, why are you here? And he was like, I joined the UN a couple years ago, decades ago, and I married a Dutch woman. Now I'm just here, you know? I was like, you like it here? He's like, it's not as fun as America, but it's cool. It was really cool. It was crazy. And the ICC was crazy too. Now, I know we have a provision that says that if the ICC ever tries to prosecute a president, we're going to nuke them. I think that this is kind of cute in some ways. I mean, dude, I was at that trial and I was like, you can only do this to the Central African Republic or to Venezuela or something. No one is actually going to do this, right? No one's going to actually do this. So, you know, it's like, it's all right. It's all right. I don't know why you would be this threatened by them. They can't do shit, bro. They don't have any jurisdiction. But I think it's more symbolic, and I actually think it empowers the ICC more than Marco Rubio is addressing it directly. No American will ever stand in front of the ICC. J-Boss says, Monaco has kept all the aesthetics on purpose. It's called Belle Epoque. Yeah, Belle Epoque. Absolutely. La Belle Epoque. 1890s. I'm not a big fan of the Belle Epoque art, like the paintings, myself. It's called Belle Epoque, and they have a third of their population as millionaires. They don't give it away. It's a separate issue. Switzerland is only 15% millionaires and looks much better than Monaco. Yeah. I didn't know that. That's how many rich people were there. I was wondering that when I was in Monaco. I was like, is everyone here rich? And they told me, no, there's some people who aren't rich. I was like, okay, why do they live here then? This place kind of sucks. It kind of blows. If you go to Monaco, it blows. It's not very fun. It's okay. Yeah. I've never been to Switzerland. I gotta check it out. And in Monaco, they have a language too, which is fake, called like Monacoese or something. Whatever. Anyway. All right. That takes us to this. Speaking of the ICC that's trying to prosecute the big boss, Benjamin Netanyahu. If you're new here, be sure to hit like, comment, subscribe, and join us on Patreon. I wanted to show you this. Khanna got arrested in Israel. What? Benjamin Netanyahu. I've never asked you for anything. No, he's already gone. I hate Khanna. If anyone who's seen this show knows how much I hate this guy is a total scammer. Dude, I don't understand who supports Khanna at all. Khanna is the Grim Reaper of American politics. Everything he says he's going to do, the opposite happens. He said he was going to regulate tech. Tech got unregulated. He said he was going to do the Epstein thing or whatever. Killed Thomas Massey, killed Graham Plattner. None of that matters anymore, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. You're not going to get anything out of it, right? He just succeeded in making the country crazy. And now it seems like his new grift is going to be Israel. I promise you, dude, if Khanna becomes like a Israel guy, like he hates Israel or loves it, whatever it is, if you get Khanna on side on the I don't like Israel party, you are going to, Benjamin Netanyahu is going to have like triple the missiles. This guy is the reverse Midas touch. He is a scammer. Everything he does. Remember when he was trying to take down the British monarchy a few months ago? That's what Khanna was doing. A congressman from California who's representing San Francisco is trying to take down the British monarchy. This guy's a scammer. Okay? Let's see this. This is first some AI that someone made of him, which I like. This is true.
This Graham thing is a total disaster. It's killing my image. We need to do something about this. I got it. We go to Palestine. Everyone hates Israel right now. It'll be perfect.
Real talk, do you think it's too much if I announce my presidential run when we're in Gaza?
Feels a bit random, don't you think?
I think Gen Z is going to eat it up.
Sir, should we let the Israeli government know we're here?
Are you kidding me? Absolutely not. We have to catch them off guard. That's the whole point, you idiot.
Wait, why are there mansions everywhere? Where's the rubble? Where's the rubble?
Are you sure this is Palestine?
Sir, the Israeli ambassador's office just reached out. They offered to set you up with some...
So obviously this was made by a pro-Israel person. You can look past that. It's very funny if you're anti-Israel, which is fine.
October 7 survivors while you're here.
Ignore those losers. Nobody cares about Israelis. We're here for a photo op at the Palestinian border to make Israel look bad. Wait, are those settlers with the soldiers? Pull over there. Let's see if we can get detained.
Hi, sorry to stop you. Can I ask where you're headed? This isn't really an area you can drive through freely.
Am I being detained?
No?
Can we get some of the male soldiers to come detain us instead? These women are all way too hot. Nobody's gonna believe I was scared of her.
I need more shots of people suffering. Do we feel like we have enough B-roll?
Okay, great. Let's get out of this shithole already. Is this really how Israel should be treating potential long-shot presidential candidates?
He actually said that.
Do you think that'll work?
I thought it was a pretty good parody. We're going to look at this. Beyond ask, how are you blaming him for all the things Trump did? Well, brother, I mean, the way I see it is Khanna. How long has Khanna been in office? Let's see this real quick. Khanna has been in office since when? When has he been? Since 2017. Khanna has been in office for since 2017. And everything he said he was going to do, the opposite has happened. He served under Trump, he served under Biden, and now he's serving under Trump again. And I just see this guy as a total attention whore who's just grifting people for money and destroying candidates in the process. I truly, and I said it on the show. I said, as soon as Graham Plattner made that Khanna commercial, I remember it. We can play back the tape, where I said, this may be the end of the Plattner campaign. This guy is a grim reaper. I don't know why it is. I don't know what his end game is. But this guy, every issue he touches gets worse. Now, we can say it was Trump that did it, or it was Biden that did it. I'm the kind of guy that if you tell me you're going to do something, I expect you to do it. If you tell me, hey, I'm going to clean up the bathroom, you better have cleaned up the bathroom. If I get back, and not only have you not cleaned up the bathroom, but now the bathroom is even dirtier, I'm going to look at you and go, what happened here? What's going on here? And I'm not going to show you. And he'll be, oh, it was someone else. They came. You said you were going to clean the bathroom. There's a reason in representative democracy these people are elected. And these people are elected to do what they say they're going to do, the will of the people. How is it that in 4 years of Biden, this guy did absolutely nothing to regulate big tech? That's what he got elected on. And he's not even working on that anymore. So I see this as completely, that's just the way I see the world, man. But, we feel free to disagree. Feel free to disagree, sir. Absolutely. Let's see what actually he posted here, okay? Israeli settlers brandishing American-made M4s detained me and other Americans on my trip to Palestine. When the IDF arrived, they sided with the settlers and continued our detention. They made a huge mistake. You will be hearing more soon. Now, Khanna, what he did here, which is crazy, is he immediately sent out a fundraising email to his email list and also said that they shouldn't be detaining a potential frontrunner for 2028. The day Khanna is elected president of this country, it's actually over. This guy he is going to scam America so badly, dude. So badly. I see this guy in the same vein as who else is really like this? He's very Obama-esque. Obama was another fucking scammer. All these people do is complain and they don't do shit. Let's see what happened here. Let's see what happened. Okay, that's a 4-second video. And here are his people here, right? Now, they released the full video. Let's watch here what happened. This is his production company.
מה קורה, חבר'ה? דיברנו עם מי המפקד של הפטרול? מי? דיברנו עם המשטרה ואמרו פשוט תזיזו אותם כדי שאנחנו נוכל לצאת, אז אני לא מבין מה הבעיה פה. המשטרה בדרך והמשטרה תגיד לנו מה לעשות. אבל הרגע דיברתי עם השוטר בטלפון. השוטר יבוא לפה. לא, אבל הוא אמר שהוא הולך להתעכב. אז אתם יכולים לעלות מול החמ"ל ולטפל בזה, כי אנחנו דיברנו כבר. יש פה חבר קונגרס שדיבר עם אני נדב, היי. יש פה חבר קונגרס אמריקאי. יש פה חבר קונגרס שדיבר עם השגרירות, והשגרירות מעורבת בזה, אז אני לא מצליח להבין את כל הסיפור. אתם יכולים להעיף את החבר'ה האלה. נכון, אסור לך להיות פה, משטרה כבר אמרה לך שאסור לא להיות. חלק מהצבא. זה קצת שמה שלקחת פקודות מהם. מה המשטרה? הבנתי, אז אתם בוחרות לא לסייע במצב הזה. אתם בוחרות לא לסייע, זה הסיפור. המשטרה כבר פגשה אותך פה, נכון חבר? ומה היא אמרה לך שאסור לך להיות פה, נכון? כשאתה חי סגור. נכון, אתה שם זין על כולם.
Okay. This was the footage. They released this to confirm that he was detained. This is obviously a pro-Israel account, okay? And I just, I don't know, man. You can hate Israel, but this is a publicity stunt. It has to be a publicity stunt. There's no. Someone push back on me here, please. Like, someone steel man this. How is this not a publicity stunt? Okay, we're gonna see more in depth why I'm saying that. Okay, because he was interviewed several times about this. Let me see here. I think we should start with no, this is the thing here. Let's do this here. Yeah, let's do this one here. All right. Let's see who's gonna share what he saw here. Dion says, literally all the things you're complaining about are done by Trump and his PDF criminal network. All he can do is talk and introduce laws, which he has. If that's true, Beyond, listen, I don't see it that way personally because he had several years to do this under Biden with a friendly administration nominally. And even if what you're saying is true, then why is he in office? Then he should resign. Because I'm sure there are other people who can actually try to do something, man. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but this is one of these things where if there's a will, there's a way. If you want to do something, if you actually want to do something, you can do it. I've noticed that some of the Thomas Massie supporters are mad at him now because he said he was going to release names if he lost his race or something. And they're replying to him saying, where are the names? These people, in my opinion, they're not doing, they don't want to do anything. I see this guy just as complicit. As I've said repeatedly on the show, these Democrats are complicit in the whole thing. There is no real opposition in this country. None of them are doing anything. I mean, there is something he could do. Now, is it my job to know what he could do? Is it your job even? It's not. We're not there. There is something he could do. I know there has to be, right? Because no boss would ever accept that answer from their employee. Like, there's nothing I could do. And he is, in theory, an employee of the people of San Francisco. And what he's doing instead is this. Jay Boss says, I can't help you there, sir. That's just crazy. Beyond says, what congressman has done more? But that's what I'm saying. It's not a matter of which congressman has, it's not a relative. I'm speaking on an absolute basis. None of these people have done anything to preclude the Trump administration from doing things that people disagree with. All they've done is make life harder for people on the ground, actually. And I mean, that's just my opinion. That's a bigger topic, but I don't see how that would be an excuse, personally, Beyond. But it's okay. I mean, dude, if you think they could do something, then you and I'm not saying this I'm not attacking or defaming. I'm just saying, then you must be really frustrated because then they can do something and they're literally doing, then you're in a position where you're saying they can't do anything. And if they can't do anything, well, then why listen to them? Why look at them? Why do anything? You know, why do anything at all? Which is not an invalid position. I don't think that's invalid at all. I don't think it's invalid at all. Just saying. Here's what he said as follow-up.
Hi, I'm home safely, and I just wanted to thank everyone who reached out. Honestly, it's still quite raw, and I'm still processing things, replaying the images of the armed settlers who detained us and the 4 IDF soldiers who helped them blockade our van. It was quite scary. But, you know, I also have just been thinking about all the Palestinians I met and their stories. They don't have the platform I do. And I was just so emotionally moved as a human being, not as a politician, just as a person hearing those stories. There was a father who broke down in tears talking about how his 14-year-old son, an American citizen, was killed by the IDF. And he talked about how he hasn't changed his son's room because of the grief he feels. I met Palestinian families who did not have enough water to flush the toilet or to wash their clothes, while Israeli settlers had 4 times the water. I talked to a school principal who described the scene of a school shooting, something we're familiar with here in the United States, And he said that even as one of his students was killed, he does not know if there has been any investigation into the school shooter. The police, the IDF have never talked to him. He has had no justice. I talked to street owners and shop owners in Hebron who said that settlers from the top would urinate down on them, would throw acid at them, would throw rotten vegetables at them. I saw checkpoints where you had two different license plates. One license plate if you were an Israeli settler, another license plate if you were Palestinian. And I talked to a Palestinian man, Palestinian American, who was at that checkpoint a couple days ago, and he was beaten because he did not speak Hebrew. And he said, well, he's been away from Palestine for years, and he didn't speak Hebrew, and the guards beat him and took his money. You know, it doesn't really matter what your ideology is. What is happening in the West Bank is just inhumane. No human being would tolerate it. That's what I want to try to get across. It's like the Jim Crow South. We need to stand up for human dignity. We need to tell the stories of what's happening to Palestinians and Palestinian Americans in the West Bank. It's just wrong. And I intend to try to give them a voice and try to tell those stories in the days and weeks ahead.
So what are you going to do about it? This is one of these things that I don't... So we're going to talk about it more? First of all, this is like, what, 3 years too late? When was peak Israel talk? Like, Israel is bad. I think we peaked earlier this year, right? This is a trend. Like all things, I really do see it as a trend where we kind of reached a peak, and the peak we can actually see with Piers Morgan, who's probably the best one to track with this kind of stuff. Where's Piers?
Say the M word. Go on.
Piers is the guy who I remember when he started talking about Israel, and he's slowed down on that because he's a media whore. You know, he's a genius. He's a wizard. Why are you doing this now? I don't understand what the point of this would be besides publicity, because this trend, the AIPAC thing and everything, you weren't really talking about it before. This is just fad after fad after fad with bro. It's not a real thing. And this is, I don't see what this is supposed to do for anyone. Because to me, and I've seen this before because I've been in Latin America, my family's from there. This strikes me as disaster tourism. You might say that's a little harsh. Why are you going there? Baudrillard said this about the Yugoslavia war. He's like, why are you going there to make life more hellish? Like, you're showing them. Imagine if you're a Palestinian, and I don't mean like Chuck Schumer, like Trump says. And I don't know, you lost all your family in an Israeli air raid, and you live in hell. And then Khanna shows up, and he's like, "Tell me about your story." You go, "Yeah, dude, everything sucks." And then you go, "Can you help me?" He goes, "I can listen, and I can spread the word." Well, then, motherfucker, you might as well not have come here. I could have sent you an email. What's the point of it? Anyway, all right. And as we saw here, he was kind of castigated on the news for this. I wanted to play this here. This is Fox News, so obviously it's going to be more pro-Israel, where they ask him about the logistics of this whole thing.
Did you really not know that going into a restricted military area guarded by local security forces was going to result in your entourage getting stopped?
It was not an area that was restricted by military. American Congress people had been there before. We went with
prior coordination,
Waterman. If I could just finish, please, because this should be an outrage to any American citizen. What happened?
Did you?
He's telling you that's some attempted wizardry, not very good. This should be an outrage. Khanna getting arrested is not an outrage to me. To me, it's like, dude, please arrest Khanna. I don't care who it is, bro. China, Guatemala, someone arrest him. Like, this guy needs to be off the camera. He really does. This guy is so annoying. Can we get like a real psycho in power for the San Francisco rep? Can we get someone that's actually going to do something about the tech companies? Can we get someone who will actually do something? Can we get someone who will not just spend all this time chasing fads, chasing trends, trying to build a profile to run? You're not going to win the presidency, Khanna. I'm going to tell you here this now. You are not going to win the presidency. quite clearly you're not going to win the presidency. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. Can I explain why it's not going to happen? Probably not. Maybe I could if I really thought about it. Khanna is not going to win the presidency. Khanna is a scammer. And I think people can sense it. I really do. Like in the same way they sensed it from, who was another one of these scammers that ran for president? Like Carly Fiorina or Andrew Yang to some extent. Or like the biggest scammer of them all, Vivek Ramaswamy. I think people sense that there is something that is not exactly right here, Khanna. You're telling people how to feel about it. J-Boss says, careful, Kale. That's what they said about Trump. He's not going to be president. How can Khanna win the presidency? I really do. You know what? Fuck it, man. Why are we even, we know how to solve problems on this show. 1 second. Let's do this here. We know how to solve problems here. 1 second. 1 second. Let's do this here. We know how to solve problems here. Let's do this. No, that's not this one. Let's go over here. Let's go. There we go. Is it possible and probable for Khanna to win the presidency? I mean the electoral vote, because he strikes me as a mediocrity who is just a media whore, and people can see that. Let's see. Give me percentages and simulations of scenarios, please. Let's ask Gemini. To many observers, the real odds, a probability tree. To win the presidency, a candidate must successfully navigate a highly competitive 3-stage gauntlet. Stage 1, win the Democratic nomination. Probability of success, 3 to 5%. Critical challenges, he faces an incredibly crowded field of heavyweights with super institutional support, such as Newsom, Shapiro, Whitmer, Bashir, and Buttigieg. Stage 2, win the general election, 50%. Assuming he somehow secures the nomination, a standard partisan polarization baseline makes any major party nominee a near coin flip to win the general. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Cumulative probability of winning, 1.5 to 2.5%. Highly improbable. The primary bottleneck is the nomination itself. What are the structural obstacles? The authenticity gap. This is what you pointed out. In a presidential race, voters have a high-octane radar for media posturing. Stunts that play well to the highly active online progressive base are often alienate the moderate working-class voters needed to win. Crucial states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. The California label. The Democratic Party is where you're nominating another Northern California politician. With Gavin Newsom already commanding the California donor network and political spotlight, Khanna is considered overshadowed in his home state, and no natural geographic base. Unlike governors like Josh Shapiro or Gretchen Whitmer, Khanna does not deliver a crucial swing state simply by being on the ticket. He represents a state Democratic district in California, giving him zero structural advantage in the Electoral College. So it's impossible. It's impossible. I really do think it's impossible. I think it's impossible. I really do. And I think we can see this here even. I wanted to play this here. This is him being interviewed after this, because it's one of these things where it's like you can talk a big game, but then you talk to people who are actually about this issue. Like Jeremy Scahill and Ryan Graham. I don't like Ryan Graham. Jeremy Scahill, I think he's done some decent reporting. Let's see what he had to say here. It's very interesting because Khanna, and we're doing this for time. I had some more clips or whatever. Leon says really quick, how does this scammer get Lindsey died doing what he loved? Lindsey was an actual demon, spent all his time lying to funnel American weapons to foreign countries to kill more children. Yeah, but Lindsey got what he wanted. Khanna has never gotten anything that he's wanted in his life. That's not a wizard. That's just someone who complains a lot. In my view, that's how I see it. Lindsey got what he wanted out of life. Now, it's not what I want out of life necessarily, but Khanna strikes me as someone who has not only not gotten what he's wanted, but everything that he's claimed he's wanted has gotten worse since he's started saying that he's wanted it. That's what I mean by that. Let's see this here. This is what happens when you talk to some real Palestine supporters. All right.
Israeli civilians are dying in these attacks because of the apartheid. You know, Palestinians have a right to kill Israeli soldiers, Congressman. On October 7th, when they attacked the military bases in the Gaza envelope, did the Qassam brigades and Soraya Quds have a right to kill Israeli soldiers? Yes or no? On October 7th, did Palestinians have a right to attack Israeli military bases in the Gaza envelope? Yes or no?
I mean, I think October 7th attack was a terrorist attack, so I don't
Was
justify.
it a terrorist attack when the first targets that were hit on the morning of October 7th were multiple military bases? Did Palestinian forces have a right to attack those military bases?
I am not for violence again in any way. I mean, I am for making sure that we end the occupation.
Do they have a right to do it, Congressman? Do they have a right to attack Israeli soldiers?
No, I'm not going to say that Hamas had a right to attack Israeli soldiers or kill Israelis. Like I don't think that advances peace or advances Palestinian statehood.
Did Israel have a right to drop a single bomb in Gaza in response to October 7th?
I believe Israel had the right to get people who killed the civilians, but not in the way they went about it, which I've said is genocide.
But the Palestinians don't have a right to attack the very military bases that are running the killing operations on October 6th, 2023, or October 5th, 2023. It's a double standard. You're saying there are ways that Israel should be able to kill Palestinians, but there is never a condition under which Palestinians can attack armed, uniformed soldiers of a force that is still considered an occupying force under international law. I don't make it make sense to me how those.
I come from a tradition of King and Gandhi. My grandfather was in jail.
I'm aware of your family history. Do you think King would say, "Well, they can attack the Viet Cong, but I don't want them to kill"?
I don't think anyone. I don't know what Gandhi would say. I don't think my grandfather would say that the Palestinians should have armed resistance to Israeli occupation. I think they would argue for a much more nonviolent approach. But America, I think, in ending aid, in ending military sales, in not being a defender of Israel in the UN, just vetoing resolutions against Israel, would make tremendous progress. I mean, maybe we're on a scale of 1 to 10, and you're at a 10, and I'm saying let's go to a 6, 7, 8. I don't know where that would be. And right now, America's at a 1.
Well, we're at a 10 because of a genocide that was enabled, supported, armed, and funded by the United States. And I am baffled as to how you can say that Israel had a right to drop a single bomb on Gaza in response to October 7th, but Palestinians, according to you, have no right whatsoever to ever kill an Israeli.
Palestinians have a right to justice, which is in the case.
Do they have a right to armed resistance against Israeli occupation soldiers in uniform? Do they ever have a right to kill an Israeli soldier?
I think if it's a self-defense, if they feel like there's an illegal attack on them by a violent settler or by an Israeli soldier, and that's illegal, in a school or on a civilian, and then of course they should have justice.
But the entire thing is illegal, Representative Khanna. The entire occupation of Gaza, the managing their diet, the mowing the lawn, the constant killing of them. The perspective of many Palestinians is that they're being collectively punished and they're fighting for their very existence, and that the bases that surround Gaza were the primary murderers on a military level of the population of Gaza. So what I'm understanding, whether it's Hamas and Islamic Jihad or it's independent Palestinians, how is it that you can stand here and in any way justify the Israelis dropping bombs on Gaza, but never find a way in which it's justifiable for Palestinians to kill an armed soldier of a force that is under international law an occupation force? I don't understand it.
Well,
because I consider this position.
Well, I will look at it, but I don't think that the solution in that area is to encourage.
But you're afraid of violent pro-Hamas. That's what this boils down to. Because I bet if we were talking off the record privately, and I said this to you, you would acknowledge that people around the world have a right to resistance by all means necessary.
I've always been for peaceful resistance.
But how is peaceful resistance saying the Israelis?
Just like it's under segregation. I wouldn't have said that go kill people who are engaged in segregation against you. I mean, I'm much more Dr. King than Malcolm X. I mean,
are you much more slave rebellions were justified against people that were raping, hanging, murdering Africans who had been kidnapped? I mean, I'm sorry. I spend most of my day and night talking with Palestinians, working with Palestinians. My colleague Hossam Shabbat.
Most of the Palestinians I met, and maybe a few days, are not talking.
Can't even listen to this guy.
It's 90% bullshit, but it's entertaining.
I think this is an interesting argument, and this is one of these things. Everyone's been through this, man. I don't know. You're like at a cocktail party, and someone mentions, I don't know, like Pink Floyd, right? And you're like, dude, I love Pink Floyd. And they're like, really? What's your favorite album? And you're like, I like Dark Side of the Moon. Bro, that's so basic, man. What's a real album? I don't know. You don't know what you're talking about, actually, bro. This is what I don't understand, because I'm not, as you guys know, I'm disinterested in this topic, but I have read about, because I'm interested in law, international law, and there is like a very controversial study of the right to resistance, which every nation has, I do believe, under international law. By nation, I mean beyond country. Like every nation technically has the right to resist. And I've seen some scholars say that Palestinians have a right to resist, even if, like, let's say it's violent, right? And I've seen other people say, no, that doesn't apply here. And that's an interesting topic. I think it is interesting to know how international law works. Now, international law is a bit of a fiction, but whatever. Ro Khanna doesn't know what he's talking about, because it's all spin. It's all, oh, Dr. King, oh, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, segregation. What are you talking about? This is, look, man, you can be critical of someone like Scahill. I've been critical of him in the past. I don't like all of his reporting, but this is at least an actual interesting contention. If you're going to be over here talking about how Palestinians are being abused, then you're implicitly arguing that the right to that you side with one side of the legal fiction of the right to resistance. This is hotly debated. It's very interesting. Dude, I swear, let's look it up real quick. I think there's a whole wiki article here about this. The right to resist. Occupation. Right, because this is, I think, what the French and all these other people used. Right to resist. Here we go. Look at this. Dude, this is crazy. I think they have a whole section here about Palestine. Let me see this here. What am I doing, right? Resistance versus terrorism. See, this is the case. The national liberation movements using violence has occurred in Algeria, Palestine, and Ireland have often elicited mixed reactions between being denounced as terrorism and the assertion that sometimes force is necessary to resist oppression. Political theorist Christopher Finlay wrote a book based on just war theory, articulating he believes armed resistance is justified. A specific example is the Palestinians' right to resist. It has its own page. The Israeli occupation of the Palestinian territories, which is denied by Israel. Look at this. Look at how long this is. And this is Wikipedia. Wikipedia sucks, okay? This is something that a serious person would engage in before they take a little publicity tour to go make themselves look good. Because you're going to get this type of question, and you should be able to answer it. I would love to learn more about this. I actually would find this. I might read up on this shit. This is kind of interesting. But again, this guy's a total fucking scammer in my mind. I don't see how he is sincere or earnest in anything that he says if he will not do the basic research in regards to this. J Boss says, no such thing as international law. Oh, okay, you just said it's a fiction. Look, it's a fiction, but it has its utility, right? Because all laws are fiction at the end of the day, right? International law has its utility when, you're just doing a border dispute or something like that. But I think that we all kind of acknowledge that there is everyone can work around it, right? Like you could call them captured combatants instead of prisoners of war, so you can get away with breaking the Geneva Convention or whatever. But at the end of the day, it is nice to have a little baseline, even if it's total fiction, like any law, And if you're going to be moralizing, which Ro Khanna is doing, and that's fine, you should be familiar with that. Why would you not be familiar for it? J Boss says, pay your taxes law is not a fiction. I guess that's true. That's true. But even then, it is somewhat of a fiction, right? Because you can get away with it if you're rich enough, right? If you're rich enough, you can get away with not paying your taxes. You just have to do it in a clever scheme. Eve says, it's in French, I think, correct, sir, regarding international law. I think most of it is in French. Yeah, I mean, there's been so many addendums to international law that I'm aware of. I mean, international law, I think it was born in the French-speaking world. Let's see this here. International law. Where was it born? History. Well, yeah, here we go to antiquity. I mean, look, it is somewhat real, right? Like just war theory and all this stuff. Middle Ages, Renaissance, and emergence of modern international law. The Westphalian system, obviously. But I think this is the important section, right? The ICC, as well as the UN, set most of this up. And I assume it is in French, like you say, sir. But yeah, I just don't. I don't see how. I just see this whole thing as a stun, man. I really don't even. It's not even that I'm siding with Israel or anything, but this guy's so fucking annoying, dude. If Mark Andreessen arrested him, I'd be happy. All he does is run around the world yelling and screaming, ruining people's campaigns, making them look silly and insane, dropping one issue after the other, and not accomplishing anything. I must be awesome to be Ro Khanna, honestly, because all you have to do is yell and say you're going to do something, do the opposite, and that's it. You win. That's how it works. Crazy work, man. Crazy work. Who enforce international law? Interpol. J-Boss says, no, I mean, the force, that's another thing, right? Because it's going to be selectively enforced and all that, and it's really might makes right? But they have a guideline, right? Where you can still get some victories out of it if you hold people to it, right? How the domain position, diplomacy, and legal drafting today, the official languages of the United Nations are Arabic, English, Spanish, French, Russian, and Spanish. That's interesting. Look, I know the enforcement, I know it's fake. But it's interesting to think about, and it's something kind of cool. Imagine if we didn't have international law. What would the world look like? Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, guidelines, right? Guidelines. But I remember because I read years ago about Nuremberg, which was really an odd trial. I've seen nowadays people are getting more comfortable saying that it was really an ex post facto trial. A lot of these rules had not been established, and maybe it was a necessary evil in order to get these rules established. But I remember reading that I think it was an admiral, a German admiral, got off because he argued that under the international maritime law, the Americans had committed the same infractions that he had, which I think was shooting survivors in Japan. And America didn't want to go on trial. So they said, all right, fuck it, we're just going to let him go, which I guess is breaching international law, but you can use it, right? You can use it in some ways. I don't know. I think it's interesting. And countries do abide by international law. I think particularly with border disputes usually. Except Argentina or Chile. But whatever, that's another issue. I mean, dude, Bolivia doesn't have an ocean because of the War of the Pacific. They go to the international court and they lose because they're losers and they started the war. That's just how it works, So it was a show trial, sir. Plenty of books have been written about it. Affidavits were signed by people who could not read the language of said documents. I mean, even if that's the case, right? It's probably good to have, if there was a time to do that kind of, it probably would have been better to do that trial after World War I, but no one was going to do that, right? Because probably a lot of French people would have had to go to jail. A lot of German people would have had to go to jail. English people would have had to go to jail. World War I was really a problem. Probably would have been best to do it at the 7 Years' War. But, I mean, if they had to do it, I guess that was a good time. I think that's made people more cautious in terms of the atrocities that they commit during a war, right? Maybe, dude, sometimes you need to do trials in order to establish the precedent, right? That's how it works. And they fucking lost because they were retarded. So, that's how it works. All right, everyone, let's get the hell out of here. We're over time. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Join us on bro, what are you talking about? Mass execution of the disabled. What else? I mean, I think that one was already illegal. The conditions of prisoner of war camps for Russians in particular goes without saying. The camps that they had, right? I know people make arguments about those. People make that argument about Andersonville in Alabama too, where they're like, "Oh, but they didn't have food." But regardless, it's kind of odd how that works, And you know what? People probably should have gone to jail for the shit over here with the Japanese, There were a lot of atrocities, man. What are we talking about? It was a fucking war. It's just the way it works, And Stalin got away with all of it. Keitel, all that shit. There were a lot of atrocities. It's a war. Didn't Hitler literally send his people to murder the leader of Austria, Dusseldorf? This guy was a criminal. He was doing fucked up shit. He did that. The Anschluss was technically illegal as far as I'm aware. Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm not a World War II historian, but and I don't really like reading about World War II at this point because everyone's fucking reading about World War II all the time. All right, everyone. Please like, comment, subscribe, join the Patreon, etc. And I just wanted to show you here some news. Alex the Mechanic has achieved 1,000 followers on the Facebook. 1,000 followers, growing. I think that's in under a month, man. He only follows one person, Donald John Trump. I appreciate everyone tuning in. I will see you guys tomorrow. Be more rested. Thank you. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, join the Patreon, etc., etc., etc. See you guys then.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye.